We went from $0 to becoming millionaires in 2 years by investing in Airbnbs, and in this video, we're going to give you the 7 steps you need to follow to become a millionaire too.
We are the Real Estate Robinsons.
Hey guys!
If this is your first time here, I'm Sarah.
I'm Tony.
And we're real estate investors who quit our day jobs by investing in short-term rentals. And we're here to show you how you can do the same.
Now, first things first, let's define what a millionaire actually is. Now, some people hear the word millionaire and they think, okay, this person has like $1 million cash in the bank. Other people hear the word millionaire and they think it means that you have like FU money where they can go and spend whatever they want, wherever they want, without thinking about the price.
That's me. I'm those people.
And I have to continually educate her on what it actually means to be a millionaire.
So let's be clear, there are definitely millionaires who live that lifestyle, but that's not actually what it means to be a millionaire.
Yeah, I guess if you want to be technical.
If you want to be technical, which is what that video is, the technical video, right? The requirement for being a millionaire is probably a little bit lower than you think. A millionaire is someone who has a net worth of at least $1 million, and that's it. Right? If your net worth is $1 million, then you are technically a millionaire.
That's us.
And that's us. That's what this video is about, right? And all that means is that if you add up the value of all of that person's assets, things like stocks, cash, real estate, businesses, and you subtract all of that person's liabilities, things like mortgages, car loans, credit cards, student loans, other kinds of debt, there should be a difference of at least $1 million, a positive difference. So basically, if you own at least $1 million more in assets than you owe in liabilities, you're a millionaire. So let's say that you have $1,500,000 in assets and you owe $500,000 in liabilities, then technically you are a millionaire.
A millionaire?
Okay, so now we want to share kind of our journey of getting to millionaire status and then give you some concrete steps to get there on your own.
But before we keep moving, we'd really appreciate if you could give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Every new subscriber really does mean a lot to us, and we have a big goal of getting to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year.
Which we're struggling at right now. We're halfway there. There's only 3.5 months left of the year. So if you're enjoying the content, please do subscribe.
Yes. And also make sure to connect with us on Instagram. I'm at Sarah Rad. He's at Tony J. Robinson. And if you're on TikTok, make sure to follow us there. We are at the Real Estate Robinsons.
We've also got a totally free download for all of our subscribers. If you head over to alphageekcapital.com/calculator, we put together a totally free tool that helps you analyze properties that you're considering purchasing as an Airbnb.
And we've also got an event coming up. We're so excited about this. It's a 3-day event focused all on teaching you how to buy, manage, and scale your own Airbnb portfolio. So we'll walk you through all the steps you'll need to follow to get started. And we have so many good speakers lined up to bring you just even more value. The event is happening in beautiful Newport Beach, California from September 11th through the 13th. So if you want to learn more about the event, head over to strsummit.com. We actually got early bird prices still on sale, but prices are going to continue to go up. So lock in your seat before it's too late.
Last, if you're not yet an Airbnb host, please do sign up using our link in the description. You will get a small cash bonus for signing up, and we will get a small cash bonus for referring you.
Perfect. All right, so we figured it'd be a good idea to share with you guys a bit of our backstory first. We both came from pretty modest families. Both of my parents immigrated from foreign countries to the US. My mom came from Mexico and my dad came from Iran. Both of them came to the US with pretty much nothing. So my mom was a server at a restaurant my entire life. My dad was actually an entrepreneur. He owned restaurants, some succeeded and some failed. His restaurant was actually hit pretty hard during 2008 and he ended up losing his restaurant. From there, he got by selling restaurant equipment. So he opened another business and he just recently opened up another restaurant with my brother. And that one's been doing really well. They're on their 3rd version. So yeah, super exciting.
Exactly.
So since I did come from a restaurant family, I started working at my dad's restaurants. I think when I was 15, I probably started. Also got side jobs. I worked at Cold Stone. That's where I met.
She used to give me free ice cream.
Yeah, I used to give him free ice cream. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I've just always, my brother, sister, and I have just always hustled just because we saw both of our parents doing it our whole lives. So I think I just have like that entrepreneurial hustle inside of me natural, just because I saw both my parents do it my whole lives.
And a lot of you know my story already, but some of you don't. But my parents split up when I was pretty young. I was like 4. I spent most of my youth living primarily with my mom. She worked a state job, always had a roof over our head, food in the fridge, but there was never really an excess of money. No vacations. We put our clothes on layaway when I went school shopping. And then I became a dad at 16, which obviously changed everything. Yeah. At one point in high school, I was working 2 jobs. I worked my way through college. It was just like a grind,
both of us.
For both of us. We went to state schools. But our point here is neither one of us came for money. We're not trust fund babies by any means. We didn't go to some Ivy League fancy colleges. Our parents didn't gift us a big bag of money to start our business. Yeah. We literally did it ourselves. We built this business from the ground up. And we're sharing this with you because we want you to understand that if Sarah, as a first generation American, and me as a Black teenage parent from a single parent household can become millionaires, then you probably can too.
And if I can do it, so can you.
I literally am gonna cry.
Cry.
That's amazing. I literally am gonna cry. That's amazing that we've been able to do that. You said it so well. That's so cool. Our parents are really proud. Yeah, we worked hard,
Yeah, we worked hard.
We've worked our asses off. Yeah. Not just recently, ever since we were young, Mm-hmm. People would look at us and say, why aren't you guys married? Why haven't you guys had babies? We had a goal, Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm crying. This is embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, Mom. We worked hard for this.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. I love you. All right, so let's get back to it, right? So let's talk about how we got started in real estate investing. So we started back in 2019. Sarah wasn't super involved. I bought a couple of long-term rentals out of state, but in 2020 is when we eventually transitioned to short-term rentals. As of today, we've got 19 active properties, 19 active Airbnbs, another 5 that we're setting up, and then another 6 that are currently being built. And again, we did that in about 2 years, literally. And during that time, we also dramatically increased our net worth.
So before going on this journey, our net worth was pretty close to 0, I'd say, right?
Yeah, we just graduated from school, college debt, we bought this house,
But as we built our business, every new property we added also added to our net worth.
Yeah, and one day I was filling out this application for a loan we were working on, and they asked for a personal financial statement. And on a personal financial statement, you have to calculate what your net worth was. So I did all the math, added in all the properties, what we owed, what they were worth. And I finished, I was like,
oh shit. I was like, hey, we're millionaires.
And it just kind of crept up on us like that. It wasn't this big thing. It just, one day it happened,
I remember my reaction.
You were like, what is it?
Yeah, I was very unimpressed. I was like, yeah, I don't have $1 million in the bank, girl. I can't shop comfortably yet. So what?
Yeah, which takes us to our next point. What does our lifestyle actually look like now that we're technically millionaires?
Now, let's debunk some major myths
about being a millionaire.
Yeah. So just because you're a millionaire, that doesn't mean that you have FU money. Not really sure what that means, but Tony says that all the time.
Your money, you can do whatever you want.
You're just making it rain everywhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't fly in private jets. Heck, we barely even fly first class, right?
Barely, girl. We did it one time.
We've done more than once.
Really?
Yeah.
We don't wear a bunch of expensive clothes or jewelry. We usually shop at Zara or Fabletics. I literally have one Gucci purse that Tony bought me. And that's the only expensive thing I have, and I wear it all the time.
How about you 2 Gucci purses, actually?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Those are the only 2. And we don't live in a mansion. We have a very modest home in a nice suburban town.
Yeah, so our point is we live a comfortable lifestyle.
But we're not stupid rich.
By any means.
No.
Okay. So now that we've talked a bit about our story, let's break down the actionable steps we believe literally anyone can take to build their net worth from 0 to $1 million. And the advice we're going to give you guys is really focus on building your net worth to 1 million relatively quickly, 5 to 10 years, not 30 years, right? If you want to build your net worth to $1 million in 30 years, you can just go get a job and plow money into a 401k. We're talking about, relatively quick wealth accumulation here.
So we're going to share 7 steps you can take to turn yourself into a millionaire. Now, these steps won't be nitty-gritty details about running your short-term rental. We have tons of other videos that talk about how to find your cleaner, which smart home devices to buy, and so on.
These 7 steps are more so like the big picture things you need to do. Kind of think of them more so like a framework. And within this framework, we're assuming that you're starting at $0 net worth. So if you're above 0, you're even in a better spot than anyone else. Okay. So step number 1 is to focus on one thing. Right, that is the first step, to focus on one thing. I heard Alex Hormozy mention this recently on his Instagram, and it's such a true statement. But there's this misconception that to become a millionaire, you need to have like 20 different streams of income. But if I had to guess, I would say that the majority of entrepreneurs who are millionaires, they probably reached millionaire status by focusing on one thing first. Right, they weren't trying to build 10 businesses at one time. They focused on one business, put all of their energy into that one business, and then once it became successful, that's when they expanded into all these other ventures and these multiple revenue streams, right? So I think about the guys and girls that are massively successful today. You had Steve Jobs with Apple, Jeff Bezos with Amazon, Bill Gates with Microsoft, Sarah Blakely with Spanx. Each of those entrepreneurs focus on building one wildly successful business. And once that business was massively successful, that's when they started to branch out and do these other things and build these other income streams.
Now, the names Tony mentioned are literally some of the most successful people in the world, but that same approach is true for smaller players too. We can rattle off so many people we know in real estate and in other fields that built their wealth and became millionaires by initially focusing just on that one thing.
Now, this is something I personally struggled with in my early 20s. I was so focused on making money and trying to find success as an entrepreneur and get into $1 million and whatever it was, that I just kept trying these different ideas, and every couple of months it was like this different thing. But the problem was I wasn't sticking with anything long enough to really develop any type of expertise, and that's what was causing me to fail. But when we decided, and really when I made that decision internally to really just focus on Airbnbs, I told myself, I'm going to do this and only this for at least the next 5 years. And if it's not related to Airbnbs, I'm not even gonna try it. And I truly believe that a big part of the success that we've had over the past couple of years is tied to the fact that I wasn't distracted by 30,000 other ideas or business ventures. And I've gotten so much better at telling myself no. Saying no to other opportunities that don't align with what it is that I'm focused on right now.
So that's the first step, is to just focus on one thing. So obviously for us, that was short-term rentals, right? And if you're watching this video, we really believe that the opportunity still exists for you to replicate a lot of what we've done as well. Step number 2 is to build your network. You've probably heard the saying, your network is your net worth, and this couldn't be more true, especially in real estate investing.
Now, I heard another investor say it this way: the right relationships have an infinite return. Like, what a deep statement, right? And basically what that person was saying is that it's impossible to measure the return that you get from the right relationship.
And we don't say that to come across as transactional or anything, but every relationship you have really does provide value in some way, shape, or form. And our point is, you can't even begin to calculate the impact that the relationships have on you or the other person.
So building your network really has to be one of your first options.
Yeah.
When I started investing in real estate, I literally didn't know anyone else that was actively investing in real estate. Like, we didn't have anyone in our circle. So I did what most people do, and I went out and I started meeting people, right? I went to local real estate meetups here in Southern California. I paid to attend real estate conferences. I got active in online real estate investing groups, Airbnb groups. My favorites were on Facebook and Bigger Pockets. I paid for coaching. I did all kinds of different things to increase my network.
And if you regularly go to these places, you'll start to see the same people, and you'll start to just naturally form connections with those people. Now, you might be thinking, Tony, Sarah, why is it so important to start with building my network first? Well, here's a big reason why. You need to surround yourself with 2 types of people.
Now, the first type of person you need to surround yourself with is someone who's trying to reach the same goals as you. Maybe this person is in the same life position as you. Maybe they're working a day job like you, or they have a young family and are just looking for ways to get started in the world of Airbnbs and investing in short-term rentals. And maybe they have dreams of eventually leaving that day job and doing this whole Airbnb thing full time. This person is super important because if you're like most people, if you're like we were, you probably don't really have anyone in your network that's also trying to get involved in investing in Airbnbs, because it's a kind of a niche thing right now. Yeah. But having a community that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can share notes with, that you can get feedback from is incredibly invaluable.
If the only people you're sharing your dreams about building your short-term rental business with are people who have no desire to invest in short-term rentals, it's going to be really difficult to keep yourself motivated.
Yeah, like if you're just surrounded by negativity, like that starts to eat away at you after.
Or not even negativity, but people that just don't even get it, don't even understand your vision or what you're trying to do. It's like talking to a wall, I feel like,
Yeah.
Or a negative wall.
I mean, it's not necessarily negative.
I mean, yeah.
It's just like
negative.
a dead wall,
Yeah. But anyway, if you have friends who you can share, the podcast with, books with, Instagram posts, this YouTube video with, and you feel like you have a network to kind of support you, it's easier to keep going.
100%. The second type of person you need to surround yourself with is someone who's already reached the goals that you are trying to achieve. This person is super important because you need someone who can show you what's possible. Most new real estate investors struggle with confidence, and that's normal because they have these limiting beliefs about what they can achieve. Maybe you're doubting that you can actually make a profit with that short-term rental, or you're doubting that you'll have the time to answer all of those questions coming from the guests while still working a full-time job. Or maybe you're super confused on how to use all of the software and automation because you're just not super tech savvy.
Whatever it is, there's probably at least one limiting belief that you're struggling with right now that's kind of holding you back from taking action and starting your business in this world of Airbnb investing. But on the flip side, imagine if you had a friend who also worked a job, who also had a family, who also had all these other commitments, but they were able to buy their first Airbnb. Now they're making a killing with it. Now imagine how you feel if you had not one, but maybe 5 of those friends who are all able to profitably manage multiple Airbnbs, all while juggling those other responsibilities that they have. Wouldn't being surrounded by 5 other people in your social circle who are all living proof that your limiting beliefs are nothing more than these imaginary obstacles you've made up to kind of make excuses for yourself, wouldn't that push you to take action? I know for a fact that's the impact that it had on us, and probably even more so for Sarah.
100 billion million %. You have no idea.
So whether it's buying that first Airbnb, flipping that house, or hosting that first event, or even putting that offer in that first hotel, all of these things were only possible for us in part because we have people in our network who we knew that were already successfully doing those things, and that gave us the confidence to do it ourselves. And honestly, even us becoming millionaires, obviously we worked super hard in our business to make that happen. But the belief that we could get there and as fast as we did was really heavily influenced by the people that we know.
Yeah. Like Ashley Kerr, Tony's co-host on the Real Estate Rookie Show, Bigger Pocket Show. She has been I will cry talking about that girl. Literally, I will cry. She has been my...
Why am I so emotional?
Okay, sorry about that. Ashley Kerr, Tony's co-host on the Rookie Show. She was my cheerleader from day one. I would make a comment like, oh, Tony's a real estate investor. And she stopped me in my tracks and was like, Sarah, you are a real estate investor. You guys are real estate investors. It's not Tony. She was that one person in my corner specifically that was cheering for me, hyping me up, and making me feel confident about myself when I felt like my weakest. You need a friend like an Ashley that's there cheering you on and telling you that you're gonna be a millionaire, because you will be.
And give our girl Ashley a follow at Wealth from Rentals on Instagram.
Love you, Ashley.
So that's why building your network is literally one of the key pieces to becoming a millionaire. Not only do those people like Ashley support you and help you when you're stuck, but they also show you what's possible, which helps you believe in yourself that you can actually achieve it. And honestly, if you want to become a millionaire, belief is a big part of making that happen.
100%. And I would say you have been the key player to do that. Tony's believed he was gonna be a millionaire since I think you were in diapers. You've just always known that about yourself, and you say it with so much confidence, But I even had so much confidence in you, seriously. But now that you has shifted to us, thanks to Ashley. So, yo, girl can do work too, okay?
Oh my gosh, yes.
All right, now on to step number 3, which is to educate yourself. Now, I know, this isn't like earth-shattering information. Obviously, whenever you do something, you want to educate yourself. But we know that fear holds a lot of people back from investing in real estate. And most of the time, that fear comes from not having enough knowledge or education about whatever it is you're trying to do. Like, think back to the first time you drove a car. It was probably a pretty scary thing, right? And why was that? It's because this was your first time getting behind the wheel of a 3,000-pound metal killing machine on 4 wheels, right?
Tony.
And that's scary for most people. Feeling that power, knowing that making a mistake could literally, cost you your life or maybe someone else's life. But what happens when you drive now?
Chilling.
Chilling. You can literally yell at the kids in the back seat, have full-on conversations with whoever else is in the car, do your makeup at the stoplight, and all that's happening while the actual driving is still taking place, right? It's like on autopilot. And most of all, that fear you felt the first time driving is completely gone. So the point here is that educating yourself about real estate investing, and specifically about buying short-term rentals, helps break down that fear that stops so many people from getting started.
So continue to watch YouTube videos like this one. Sign up for coaching programs. Obviously we have ours, but there are plenty of others out there too. Go to real estate conferences, read books on short-term rentals, get out there and just talk to people that are already doing this successfully. And start building up your knowledge on choosing a market, analyzing properties, the setup and design aspects, pricing strategies, automation tools, and guest experience. Basically, just immerse yourself in all things short-term rentals. You should be consuming so much content about short-term rentals that you get to the point where every podcast you listen to and every YouTube video you watch is almost just regurgitating the same information that you've already watched and listened to somewhere else. And it's kind of annoying. And you're like, all right, I've heard this before.
Yeah, you want to be so deep into your education that you can start teaching other people what you're learning. Now, that's basically what I did when I started investing in short-term rentals. I met a bunch of people that were already doing it. I read books, I watched YouTube videos, and eventually, I felt confident enough to dive in. Now, granted, I'd already been studying the basics of real estate investing for a couple of years and already had a few long-term rentals as well. So the learning curve for me to move into Airbnbs was probably a little bit shorter than someone who was, kind of completely new to real estate investing, but the principles still apply all the same.
Once you've educated yourself, it's time to start sharing your journey, which is step number 4. And honestly, step 4 and step 3 can kind of happen simultaneously. Sharing your journey doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have a YouTube channel like we do or a big Instagram following. It could be something as simple as being the person that hosts your local real estate meetup.
Yeah, just imagine how big your network could become if you were the person standing on stage in front of 100 investors every single month. Think of how many people you could meet by hosting that meetup. How many people would hear your story? How many people would be inspired by your journey? And better yet, how many people will be interested in being a part of that journey? And the best way to do that, the best way to make sure people associate Airbnb with you is by sharing your journey as you learn everything about short-term rentals.
So once you've started documenting your journey, it's time for step number 5, which is where you start to build your expertise. For us, this meant we got really good at finding deals, or Tony got really good at that. We got really good at rehab properties.
Us together.
Yeah. We got really good at analyzing properties.
Probably me.
Yeah. We got really good at interior design. More
Definitely
me.
you.
We got really good at setting up our tools and automations.
Probably me.
And we got really good at managing our guests.
A little bit of both.
Girl, what guests do you talk to? That is me.
Now, we did this by actually buying a few short-term rentals on our own first. We had the cash, we had the credit, so those first several properties honestly weren't too difficult for us to purchase. But as a quick side note, we know that not everyone who's watching this video will be able to buy 3 or 4 Airbnbs on their own. Yeah. But listen, even just buying one property will get you well on your way to becoming a millionaire and building your expertise.
Basically, within the world of short-term rentals, we tried our best to become experts in all of the things that other people didn't have the time, desire, or ability to do themselves. And this is where all of the steps start to build on top of one another. Because we decided to focus on nothing but investing in short-term rentals, which was step 1, and because we built our network, which was step 2, and because we educated ourselves and became experts in this space, which is step 3, And because we shared our journey with you guys, that's step 4. And eventually other people began to approach us asking if we'd be willing to partner with them.
So you may find this hard to believe, but there is someone out there right now who likes the idea of investing in Airbnbs, but who doesn't have the time, the desire, or the ability to find the property, design it, set it up, manage it. And that same person would be willing to partner with you, put up the majority, if not all of the cash that's needed, as long as you do all the work associated with running that property on a daily basis. And honestly, if you want to scale fast, unless you have unlimited capital, you'll have to get good at raising money from other investors. Now, getting good at that one thing, getting good at sharing our journey and becoming experts in operating has unlocked a crazy amount of growth in our business, right? We would not be millionaires today if we hadn't mastered this part of bringing other capital into our business. So the point of this step is to find people who have the money to invest in Airbnbs, but they don't have the time, they don't have the desire, they don't have the ability, and then partner with those people so you can keep acquiring properties and building your short-term rental empire.
One quick side note before we move on from this step, this strategy will also work even on your first deal. It's definitely a little harder if you don't have the track record to back you up, but believe us when we say it is still very possible.
All right, once you've purchased your first 1 or 2 properties and you have some cash flow coming in, it can be tempting to take that money and start spending it, but hold off on that urge. We seriously didn't start taking any money from our Airbnb business until after a year into it. I think maybe even a little bit more than a year. I think it was like a year and a half, because we were pumping all of those profits back into the business. And that small sacrifice paid off big time. A big part of our ability to scale early on has to do with the fact that we had some extra money to invest in more properties. I mean, look at it this way, right? If you're already living without the money from your Airbnb business, could you live without that money for an extra 12 or 18 months? The answer is probably yeah, right? For most people watching this video, you can probably go without that extra money because you already were. Because here's what happens. As you save your profits and you start finding people who want to partner with you, it leads you to the last step.
And the very last step is to repeat and scale. This is basically what we've been doing for the last 2 years, and it ramped up pretty crazy this year. In our first year investing in short-term rentals, we bought 3 properties, and in our second year, we bought another 9, and we're only 7 months into this year, and we've already purchased 13 freaking properties. That's so crazy. Don't make me cry again.
You know, that's the same story you hear from so many investors. This snowball kind of starts to build and your business picks up momentum, and before you know it, you're buying more properties in 1 month than you used to buy in an entire year.
Yeah.
And if you build that kind of momentum, getting to millionaire status is actually pretty straightforward. Now, last thing, right? People often confuse the words simple and easy. So let's define both of those really quickly. Simple is defined as readily understood or performed. Easy is defined as achieved without great effort. So the 7 steps that we just laid out, virtually anyone can follow those steps. The steps themselves are simple. They aren't difficult to understand. They aren't difficult to necessarily perform. But those 7 steps are not easy. It is not easy to consistently do that work. It's not easy to get up before you go to your day job and analyze deals. It's not easy to save the money that you need for that down payment. It's not easy to sacrifice time with your friends and your family to focus on growing your Airbnb business. None of those things are easy, but the path is pretty simple. And if you're willing to put in the work, the path to actually becoming a millionaire is straightforward. It is simple.
Amen, Tony J. You're like freaking Tony Robbins, you know? If you guys have any follow-up questions, please drop a comment below and we'll do our best to answer it. That's it for today. We hope you enjoyed today's video. I am Sarah.
I'm Tony.
And we are the Real Estate Robinsons.